I'm 81 years old. I say that out loud now because I don't have the luxury of pretending otherwise. When people stop calling as much, when the house gets quieter every year, you start to notice what makes people drift away. And you start to see the parts of yourself that helped push them. No one ever sat me down and said it plainly. They were too polite, or too tired, or they figured I was too old to change. So they smiled, made excuses, and slowly disappeared. And I was left with time. Too much of it. Enough to finally tell the truth. I'm not saying this to shame anyone. I'm saying it because I've lived long enough to watch people avoid me without quite knowing why. And then, eventually, to understand. When you're young, you think people leave because life gets busy. Jobs, kids, distance. That's true for a while. But later on, there's another reason. Sometimes people leave because being around you has become heavy. And no one wants to say that out loud to an old person. I used to think age earned me a kind of pass, that I'd lived long enough to say what I wanted, to act how I pleased. I told myself I'd earned it. What I didn't see was the cost. The first ugly habit crept in quietly. I complained, not loudly, not dramatically, just constantly. The weather, the food, the way things used to be better. I didn't notice how every conversation bent toward what was wrong. People would come in with something light, something ordinary, and I'd weigh it down without meaning to. I thought I was just being honest. I didn't realize honesty without balance feels like a burden. Then there was the way I talked about the past. I lived in it. I corrected people. That's not how it used to be. You wouldn't understand. I turned memories into weapons instead of bridges. I thought I was sharing wisdom. What I was really doing was shutting doors. No one wants to feel small in a conversation, especially not someone younger who just wanted to connect. I became quick to judge. That one surprised me. I'd spent my life believing I was fair, open-minded, but age hardened my opinions without my noticing. Music was noise. New ideas were foolish. The world was always going downhill. I said it so often it became my posture. People could feel it the moment they sat down. Judgment doesn't have to be spoken to be heard. I also stopped listening, truly listening. I'd wait for my turn to speak, or I'd interrupt with a story of my own. I thought I was relating. I was really redirecting. Over time, people learned they weren't going to be heard, so they stopped trying. Another habit was expecting too much patience. I forgot that other people were tired too, that they had worries of their own. I assumed my age meant others should slow down for me, adjust for me, understand me endlessly. I didn't offer the same grace back. That imbalance wears people down. I became stingy with praise. I don't know when that happened. Maybe I thought encouragement was unnecessary, or that people should already know their worth. But silence where kindness should be feels cold, especially to children, especially to partners. They remember that. I held on to grudges longer than I should have. Old slights, careless words from decades ago. I carried them like proof of something. I told myself I was justified. What I was really doing was keeping wounds open long after the bleeding had stopped. People don't like being punished forever. Then there was the habit of turning every conversation toward my aches, my losses, my fears. Some of it was real. My body does hurt. I have lost people. But I forgot that sharing pain is different from living inside it. When pain becomes the only language you speak, people don't know how to answer anymore. I also resisted change out of stubbornness, not principle. I refused help I clearly needed. I rejected new ways of doing things just to prove I still could do them the old way. Independence is a fine thing. Pride, less so. Pride isolates you quietly. Another ugly habit was assuming people would always be there. I delayed phone calls. I postponed visits. I thought, I'll do it next week, next month. There's time. I said that so often it became a lullaby. And then one day, there wasn't time. Someone was gone, or I was no longer invited. And finally, I stopped saying thank you. Not completely, but not with the weight it deserved. I grew used to people accommodating me, driving me, checking in. I forgot those were gifts, not obligations. Gratitude unspoken feels like entitlement. None of this happened all at once. That's the part I wish people understood. I didn't wake up one day unpleasant. It was slow, reasonable. Each habit felt small, defensible. I had explanations for all of them. When I was younger, in my 30s and 40s, I was busy. I worked hard, I raised a family. I did what I thought was required. I wasn't cruel, I wasn't careless. I was just focused. I assumed relationships could be put on pause and resumed later. I missed birthdays because of work. I skipped dinners because I was tired. I told myself there would be time to make it up. I believed showing up later would count the same. In my 50s, people started drifting a little. I noticed, but I blamed schedules, distance, life. I didn't look inward. I was still useful then, still productive. People tolerated more. The real cost didn't show itself until much later. In the pauses, in the empty chairs, in the way conversations shortened, in the way visits became obligations instead of choices. The turning point came quietly. A funeral. Someone younger than me. I stood there listening to people speak about kindness, about warmth, about how it felt to be around them. And I realized I didn't know what people would say about me. I wasn't sure there would be much to say at all. After that, the clarity was sharp. Too sharp. I saw how habits had piled up, how small moments I thought were harmless had shaped how people felt in my presence. You can't argue with absence. You can't explain it away. Some things can't be fixed. I won't get those years back. I won't be young enough to start over properly. Some people won't return, no matter how gently I speak now. Some silences are permanent. I carry that knowledge with me. It's heavy, but it's honest. I've learned that being avoided hurts more than being criticized ever would have. At least criticism means someone still cares enough to speak. If you're listening to this and you're younger than I am, I won't tell you what to do. I won't pretend I have answers. I'll just say this. Pay attention to how people feel around you, not just what they say. Absence is a message. Short visits are a message. Polite distance is a message. And if you're my age or close to it, it's not too late to notice, to soften, to listen more than you speak. Not because you owe anyone a better version of yourself, but because loneliness is a quiet place to live. I don't say this expecting forgiveness. I say it because truth doesn't need permission. It just needs time. And I don't have much left. These days, I try to be lighter when I can. I ask questions and let them hang. I say thank you like I mean it. I let some things go unsaid. Not all of it changes the outcome, but it changes the room. And sometimes, that's enough. If this meant something to you, sit with it. You don't have to share it. You don't have to agree. Just notice the people who still choose to sit with you. That choice is fragile. I learned that late. I'm 81 years old. I'm still learning. Slowly, carefully. And I'm finally quiet enough to hear what was being said all along.